All right. First of all, bye week came at a really good time for us. Gave us a chance to regroup a little bit and get some guys some of the bumps and bruises that have accumulated healed up. We've been going since August 1st, so over 2 months straight without any sort of a break. So it's good for these guys to get a break. I think we, as we do every year, try to strike a good balance with getting some practice in, but at the same time giving them some downtime to refresh. So Arizona State road trip this week. They're playing well, 4-1. Impressed with a lot of things about their football team. They're much more productive offensively this year than they were able to be last year. The tailback is a tough, hard-nosed guy. Some good receivers. Just very productive on offense. Quarterback is definitely a dual threat. So we got our work cut out for us, and it's going to be hot, which is nothing new to us. We've had a few hot games this year, and so I think 97 at kick is what it's projected to be. But same for both teams, just like always. So we'll just be able to, or have to handle that, and that's where we're at. So questions. Justin, I should say. Question.
Okay. In regards to the Arizona University game, in the first quarter, it was 4th down with 2 yards to go. You decided to go for the first down twice instead of kicking the field goals. It is my belief that if you would have kicked said field goals, we could have kept the momentum and could have potentially won the game. Would you follow the same protocol this week? And he's not a fan of the analytics.
You're not a fan of analytics, so you don't believe in science, is what you're trying to say. There's an argument for that, but the analytics was heavily in favor of going for it in those situations. I've said before, we are pretty tuned into the analytics. It's not absolute for us, and if we have a different feel, then we'll go a different direction. But when it's that heavily skewed to going for it, field goals, obviously touchdowns are worth more than double a field goal, and so if you end up kicking field goals a bunch, you don't win many games. And so in hindsight, if I knew we weren't going to get it on 4th down, we would have kicked, but the strategy and the definite statistical recommendation was to go for it. So unfortunately, we were 0 for 4th down in that game, where we had been really good the week before. We were 4 for 5 the week before at Okie State, so it was a complete reversal of that. But yeah, there's some old school guys. Apparently, you're one of them that would like to kick the field. Okay, thank you for that question, Justin. By the way, appreciate it.
A week ago, you said Cam Rising will play as soon as he gets the go-ahead. Is that go-ahead from the medical staff or the coaching staff? Medical
staff, without any other input. I mean, it's all, we're following the recommendations. He is following the recommendations as well as from the doctors, and we'll see what happens this week. But there's a chance, I can tell you that, and it's still early in the week, but we're crossing our fingers and hoping for the best, as is Cam. And so we're just seeing how things play out. But again, we follow all the medical recommendations. We're not going to, I'm not a doctor. Cam's not a doctor. We're not going to go against that. So that's where we're at.
Kyle, I'm just curious, what is, I guess, your strategy behind how you approach the injury report? And to follow up on that, the Big Ten and the SEC, they have mandated injury reports. Would you be in support if the Big 12 were to go in that direction?
100%. But since there is no mandate, why would you tip your hand in any way, shape, or form with injuries? It doesn't make any sense to give the opponent any more knowledge than they have. And so that's the only reason. It's no other reason other than a competitive advantage. Even though it might be just slight, it's still an advantage. The less they know, the more we know. That type of deal. But yeah, I would support that if the Big 12 were to come out and say, hey, you need to disclose and have an injury report. But I don't think it should be conference to conference. Again, I think P4 should all operate under the same guidelines, the same rules, regulations. And right now, it's all over the place. And so I would be in favor of whoever would make that call for all P4 conferences to be aligned and have a consistent way of handling and dealing with injuries. So that's where I'm at.
if a player is medically cleared, but he's not 100%, what's your philosophy on playing him if that player isn't 100%, but whatever percent he is, gives you a better chance to win than 100% of the backup? You see what I'm saying?
You answered your own question, PK. Exactly. That's exactly the formula. It's who gives you the best chance to win. Is an 80% Cam Rising more of an opportunity to win than 100% Isaac Wilson? And so that's a coach's decision, a coach's call, and it's just you're not going to be right all the time, but that's the exact criteria we use. And first of all, you don't want to expose the kid to furthering the injury, but you wouldn't get clearance if you didn't, if that was the case. So it would be exactly what you just said. Whoever that particular week gives us the best chance to win, given the physical circumstances, that would be the guy.
Kyle, Cam is obviously your guy, but does there come a point in the season where if Cam isn't available that you have to look to the future and just turn it over to Isaac just to say that this is what it is, or how long do you wait?
Yeah, that's a good question, and yeah, there is a point. I'm not going to pin ourselves down to an exact specific time, but as things progress, and then also the conference race, where are you in the conference race? There's some things that enter into it, but it certainly could come to that point, but we're not there yet.
And to follow up, with Isaac, where does he need to make those next steps each week, especially maybe red zone, or what are you seeing that needs to improve?
I would say the entire his entire game just needs to continue to get tighter and better. Cut down on the interceptions first of all. We've had some interceptions along the way, but there's not any one glaring area we can say, boy, he's really lacking in this or that. It's just he's a freshman, a true freshman, and there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be mistakes made that you're going to have to live with. And as long as the more reps he accrues and the more time he gets, playing time, the less those mistakes show up, and we're trending in the right direction. That's really what you're looking for.
To kind of piggyback off of that question, given Isaac's struggles with turnovers, is there, if the keys do have to get handed over to him at some point, is there going to be a consideration to maybe get Brandon Rose or Sam Heward more reps, given the struggles that the offense has had without Cam under Isaac?
Not right now. Right now, Isaac is the guy, and if Cam becomes the guy again, then Isaac becomes the clear-cut number two. And again, if Isaac continues to play and doesn't trend in the right direction, then just what you said may come into play. But right now, we don't feel that's in play at this point.
Bernard's had a fantastic season, but what have you seen from the other running backs lately, and how do you get more production out of them?
Yeah, Micaiah has been the bell cow. He's been RB1. He's played himself into that role. He was not in that role initially at the beginning of the season. We're going to let things sort themselves out, which they have. And he is the guy that's getting the vast majority of the carries. The other backs, Mike Mitchell, just a freshman, still learning, but he's added some value to that room and had some good carries this season. Dijon Stanley's done the same thing, although he's more of a limited package guy. Charlie Vincent's contributed. Jalen Glover is a guy that is in the room as well that you may see start to get more time. But Micaiah is the number one guy, and his play has been outstanding, and so that's why he has got the vast majority of the carries.
Bye weeks are important for the players to recoup and rest. For coaches, how much does it help you guys to reset schematically, personnel-wise, just assessing your team?
It gives us a good opportunity to evaluate everything, but there's a lot of recruiting going on as well during the bye week, so it's not just football. Our coaches were on the road for half the bye week, and recruiting never stops. You're doing some form of recruiting every single day, and so when you have a bye week, it lets you physically get off campus and go watch players and evaluate. And so that was going on, but the being able to again self-evaluate and help make personnel decisions going forward, all that type of stuff bye week is a good time to get that done.
Given that Arizona ran for more than 5 yards a carry and over 150 yards, how do you challenge your defense? How do you talk to them in the film room and kind of set the stage, knowing that you're going against a team that likes to run the ball and is pretty good at it?
Yeah, well, just challenge them just like that. Say, if we can stop the run, then we got a good chance of winning, and we did not do a good job against Arizona. We'd done a pretty good job all season up until that game. Well, all season, what was it, 4 games? But That'll be the key this week. They're a run-heavy team. They're well over 200 yards a game rushing, and if we're as non-effective as we were in the Arizona game, it's going to be a long night. And so that is the big challenge for our defense is to stud up and become what we know we can be against the run.
Obviously, you walked into the season kind of because there was rumors floating that Cam could potentially play an 8th year of college football. Given his injury status, is that a possibility if he has to shut down for the rest of the season that he could potentially come back for an 8th year of college football?
You know what? I couldn't say for sure. That's a compliance question. But if it does come to that point, that's something we would thoroughly have the answer to and research. But haven't even really given that any thought because we're just hopefully going to get him back sooner rather than later. So, and I know he wants to play. He wants to play badly.
With the way that the schedule has been set up, you have this week, next week, and the week after 3 games, and then another bye week.
Mm-hmm.
How crucial is this stretch of the schedule for you guys?
Well, it's very crucial. I mean, we got our backs to the wall in a lot of respects right now. I mean, you look at the standings in the Big 12, and there's 2 or 3 teams with 3 losses that are essentially out of it. I mean, I don't see how that any way that they can. I guess I shouldn't say there's no way, but it's very, very unlikely that they're going to have an opportunity to be in the championship game. Then the 2 lost teams have a somewhat of a chance, and everyone with 1 loss or less is still right in the thick of it. But every week we got to get back on track. We didn't play well against Arizona. You can be a good football team and not play well and get your butt handed to you. Look at Alabama. You telling me that Vanderbilt has even close to the personnel that Alabama has? There's no way. I mean, that Minnesota has even close to the personnel that USC has. And so that there's illustrations all over the place where it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but you can be a really good football team, but if you don't perform and execute, you're going to get beat. And so where we are right now, we can't look past Arizona State. Yeah, there is 3 games and then a bye, but it's all focused on Arizona State, and this is an important stretch, and it's we gotta get the ship turned back around because it was a very disappointing loss against Arizona. The quarterback played well again, Fafita. The receiver's terrific. I don't want to diminish what they accomplished, but we did not play well.
Obviously, you like to have earlier games. I think you said you wanted 4 a.m. games if you could.
Sure, let's go. Yeah.
But when you have these late games, a couple weeks ago with the Arizona game, now you get this game with Arizona State, how do you keep guys, or what do you do as a team to kind of help them kind of stay in the mode and not let the day just kind of get away from them?
Good question. And on game day, when it is a late kick, we have, first of all, meetings. There's some short, not extensive, but short offense, defensive meetings, walk through. We have a flex period where they go and stretch out and stay loose. We got a nap period, a designated nap block of time. There's 3 meals that day. You got breakfast, lunch, and the pregame meal later on. And so we find a way to keep them occupied, but make sure they have enough time just to rest and relax and get themselves ready for the game. And it'll be important this week to hydrate. I mean, obviously that was that'll be part of it. And so pushing fluids on game day as well as all week long. But that's a big part of it.
Kind of to shift focus to the red zone issues that you guys have had for the past 2 weeks, how much of that is not having Cam in the lineup versus just personnel and schematic struggles?
Yeah, Cam's very good in the red zone historically, and so that's a part of it. And we're about 20% off where we need to be. It's not like we just absolutely are horrible. We're at 50%, which isn't good by any means, but 70% is our target. And if we can be 70% in the red zone, which we have been several years, then that's good production. And Cam would certainly, an experienced guy like him that's got as much accrued football time, he's going to be very adept at functioning in the red zone.
Sam Levitt was someone you guys looked at in the transfer portal. What stood out about him at that time, and what challenges does he pose to the defense?
His athleticism. He's a true dual threat, as I mentioned earlier. He's doing a good job with the QB run game for him. He's still really young, and so his development is still, ahead of him. His efficiency rating right now is about 133 throwing the ball. So got some work to do there, but he's doing a really good job of doing what they're asking him to do, and they're doing a really good job of making sure the offense is tailored to his skill set. And he's, like I said, a very capable runner. He's a tough kid. We liked everything about him. We thought he could be a terrific safety as well, or linebacker. I mean, he's one of those QBs that could play 2 or 3 other spots, and he's so athletic, like a Chase Hansen type of a guy. Yeah. Go Yankees. 5:08. Is that the kick? I think that's first pitch. Yeah, 5:38, something like that. All right.